Well, good evening, friends. Back again on the talking show. You have to understand that I'm not a public speaker. My sons are. I'm not. But I will try my best to indulge into this subject. It's a very, very deep subject from every side, spiritual, mental, physical, name it. It's it's all involved in this uh, subject of suffering. The thing that I like about this subject is um, suffering doesn't happen alone. It's always coupled with patience. Every suffering has to have patience with it because otherwise, if you don't have patience, you will kill yourself of the pain of whatever this reason, you don't want to live. But when you are patient and you go with the flow of whatever happening, this is what I want to say is Baha'u'llah had promised for every attribute there is a limited amount of reward, except patience, and limited amount of force. But he said again, he said, do not negate your patience and the rewards by complaining. Yeah. So we have to understand the moment we open our mouth trying to say, I am suffering from that and I'm suffering from this, I don't know, God gave me this kind of thing, it's negate your rewards for suffering. So keep it quiet and get heard and say thank you, God. Yeah. So and the suffering really is a subject by itself, but sometimes mankind do suffering for themselves, and that's because you choose to sacrifice. Like whenever there is sacrifice, the person himself, he knows that he's doing this for the love of somebody, for the respect of somebody, for the loyalty of somebody. So that's, but they do this kind of a sacrifice, and then they reap the result of whatever comes with it, especially from suffering. Um, um, it, uh, this is what I want to just articulate something here. I wanna, yeah. Okay, so you have to understand that sometimes we bring things on ourselves, but sometimes we know it's going to happen, but we have to accept it. And then again, we shouldn't complain about it because it's going to negate the rewards for that. Number three is not only the Baha'i faith talked about suffering or test or difficulties, all the religions talked about some kind of a form or shape or way of testing the believer and testing their belief. In the Quran, it says, do you think we're gonna let the people say we believe without testing them? Very straightforward. There is nobody is gonna live to say I believe and I know and I am without testing whatever he's saying. And the test really we have to know that whatever God is testing us, it's for our own good. Because this is giving us rewards, spiritual, financial, mental, health, any kind of rewards. It doesn't have to be only spiritual. All kind of rewards. And I hope to share with you at the end a story about myself. because of the sacrifice, something happened, changed my life, completely changed my life, because I was on the wrong track. So, in the Baha'i faith, always say, I lay all my affairs in thy hand. Wake up in the morning without even saying anything else. First, you say, thank you, I'm still alive, and I lay all my affairs in thy hand. Because you really don't know what's going to happen that day. You don't know what's written for you, and you don't know what you're going to do when you do something wrong, or you have to accept the consequences. This is again in the Quran. It says, one of the ayahs, it says, in shakartum la'azidannakum. It says, in shakartum la'azidannakum means if you thank me, I will make it more. But he didn't qualify whether it is bad or good. So he just said, if you thank me, I'll make it more. So here we go. We know that you have to thank God for everything happening to you, because everything has a wisdom in it. So instead of sitting down, complaining, and finding out why you are chosen to have this suffering, to have this whatever, you have to think, what is the wisdom behind it? It could take you months or years to understand what's the wisdom. But once you understand the wisdom, everything feels, oh my God, it's beautiful. Sometimes it doesn't, you cannot do it when you are in that problem or suffering, because your intellectual is clouded. You don't know what's going on because of pain, because of whatever. So it could take time before you find out what's going on. I remember when I was in 7 months in hospitals, twice they gave me 12.5% to live. The only time I knew what was behind the whole thing is 2 months after I got from the hospital. And I discovered exactly what happened when I did that. So, the other thing is I wanted to share with you a story, because here we go. We say, we are thanking you. Why you are increasing the problem? We are trying to accept it. Why you're doubling the problem? So I remember a story about two friends. Those two friends, very kind of buddies and testing each other, you know. One day, one of them, he said, look, suppose you are somewhere and there is a lion coming to you. So what do you think you should do? He said, well, I would probably find some kind of a stick and punch him with it, you know. He said, you can't find the stick. Oh, he said, I'll go for a rock. I'll take the rock and push it on him, you know. And he said, there is no rock there. He said, I go behind the tree and hide. He said, there is no tree. He said, okay, maybe there is a ladder somewhere and I go up the ladder. Well, there is no ladder. So the guy said, hey, are you my friend or the friend of the lion? You know? So here the same thing. We ask God, are you our friend or friend of the calamities and suffering? And, you know, exactly, it's the same thing. Is he with us or is he against us? But he had said that before he even tested us, that this is, as is in the hidden words, oh my son, my calamity is my providence. You know, in short, this sentence, my calamity is my providence. Black and white, just like that. Outwardly, it is fire and vengeance. fire and vengeance. That's exactly what you find out when you are suffering fire and vengeance. But in inwardly, it is light and mercy. You cannot ask more than God if He give you mercy. Because always we say to God, God, please treat it with a mercy, not with your justice. Because we'll never be able to achieve the station of He would treat it with mercy, because we always did something wrong. So we always ask Him, please don't use the justice. It's too much for us. We are not created for this kind of punishment. Yeah. So we talk about the wisdom in finding things, and the wisdom doesn't have to be like something you can touch, something you can feel, something. It could be just awareness of your station in this world. Like, where are you? Who I am, exactly what it is. That is much more important than wealth and understanding, because our short life is supposedly 80, 85, maybe 90 if we are lucky, or maybe not. Yeah. So we have to find out if we really can have a good, clear idea of why we are here in this world, what's our duty, what we are hoping to see, what we are hoping to do. And this is why Baha'u'llah said, you bring yourself to account every night. Because when you bring yourself to account every night, you know what you have done in your day, you don't know what you didn't do it that day. And you try to make it better and better for the long run.
Dad. Drink. And phone call.
He said he'll call back, he's just having supper.
Oh,
Yeah, he said, I'm having supper, I'll call back in 15, 20 minutes.
okay, good.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Sorry.
Okay. So, and there is another prayer from Baha'u'llah. It's I remember when I read it in Arabic, it really struck a chord in my heart. And I thought, oh my God, like, this is exactly what Baha'u'llah is doing to us to find out something. But this prayer tells you exactly what is He's after. I'll read it for you. But for the tribulations which are sustained in thy path, how could the true lovers be recognized, and were not for the trials which are born for love thee? How could the station of such as yearning for thee he receive? Thy might breatheth our witness, the companions of all who adore thee are the tears they shed, and the comforters of such as seek thee are the grooms they utter. So really, what boils down to is that really we are being tested to see if we are ready for the next station. Just like when you go to the kindergarten, they test you, are you ready for number 1? Are you ready for number 2? The same thing here. How would God knows that? Because He created you eventually to go to the next world with, in this world we are with the material limbs, in the next world is spiritual limbs. how he would know that we're gonna be able to navigate the next life without spiritual limbs and spiritual understanding and make our station better in the next world? If without testing, how would he know where he put us? You know, like if somebody came from Africa and he went to a school, he said, I was studying, but now I didn't study for 2 years. I want to go to school. So what they gonna say? Yeah, you go to grade 6? No. They do some tests to find out in what kind of category he should be. And that's exactly what Baha'i is doing here. He tests you to find out where is your station. And again in his writings he said, if you know your stations in the next world, you will blaze out because of what kind of magnitude in this world. So really our happiness is here in this world. There is no happiness. All what is in this world is tests and difficulties, and that's what we will find out from the writings of Shoghi Effendi. So this is exactly summarized the whole thing about our life, about why we are here and why we have been tested so that we can say every time thank you, because this is a test to tell us you passed one, you passed number 2. While a man is happy, he may forget his God, but when grief corners and sorrows overwhelms him, then will he remember his Father who is in the heaven and who is able to deliver him from his humiliations. That's from Abdul Baha, the son of Baha'u'llah, the prophet of the Baha'i faith. Then he says, even if all the losses of the world were to be sustained by one of the friends of God, he would still profit thereby. That's from Baha'u'llah. You know, all the losses he's talking about, that's exactly like all his life savings, all his station, all his pride and joy in his life, family, kids, everything. This could, you know, and the beauty is you have always to say, when something happens, you say, it could be worse. This is from the Guardian. The troubles of this world pass, and what we have left is what we have made of our souls. So it is to this we must look, to becoming more spiritual, drawing nearer to God, no matter what our human minds and bodies go through. So not just the body, mind and the body go through. So it could be multiple way of suffering. Now we'll talk about benefits. In every suffering, one can find a meaning and wisdom. That's what we said in the beginning. There is a meaning and wisdom, and we have to be after that, not after complaining about the suffering, or we say we are the only one who's getting it. Because as he say here, it could be much more than this. You know, you lose a son, you could be losing a son and a wife. Losing a hand, or you can lose a hand and your leg. So always it could be worse. So they have to accept whatever is being decided for us. But it is not always easy to find the secret of that wisdom. It is sometimes only when all our sufferings has passed that we become aware of its usefulness. What man considers to be evil turns often to be a cause of infinite blessings. Infinite blessings. Nobody wants to stop that. And this is due to his desire to know more than he can. That's what we are always striving to do, is to learn more, to find out what exactly is the meaning of the whole creation. God's wisdom is indeed inscrutable to us all, and it is no use pushing too far, trying to discover that which shall always remain a mystery in our mind. A mystery. That's what I said at the beginning. Suffering is a mystery, and we can talk about it, is what we found out in religions of the past and the Baha'i faith. If we have time, we'll talk about what the Buddha and Jesus and Muhammad and Moses talked about suffering in their own scriptures. There is a lot of writings about suffering, because I think the Guardian, I don't know, maybe I have it here somewhere. He said that, especially the West, he said there will be turmoil of the mind or something. That thing, he said.
Mental tests.
Huh?
Mental tests.
Mental tests, mental problem. And it is mental, it is much more severe than physical. Mental is much more, because physical might we put something on it, might we touch it, but mental, when you become in a what they call it, the one when they lose balance.
Vertigo?
Vertigo, like somebody has a vertigo. For years he doesn't know why he's here, what happened, who opened, who did. So mentally is much more painful than physical pain. You will suddenly find that you have conquered many of the problems which upset you, and then you will wonder why they should have troubled you at all. Again,
said
that's
that?
from the Guardian.
From the garden.
Yeah, you will suddenly find that you have conquered many of the problems which upset you, and then you will wonder why they should have troubled you at all. After we spend time by wasting our time and by complaining, by trying to find out, try this, without saying that it could finish. I remember a story when I was in Kirkuk, the place we pioneered. There was a very small shop, maybe size of here to here, only for people to sit, two here, and they used to repair shoes. Two brothers, they repair shoes. Very small place, and the whole store used to be pieces of paper written on it. Every situation will change. Every situation will change. Wherever you go, these small things there, here. Every situation will change. Okay, I was a teenager that time. I didn't pay attention. I finished the pioneering, and then after years, I came back to that city again, Kirkuk. And I was walking, I saw that store, but now became 5 times its size, lights, and beautiful store, machines. They used to do it by hand, repairing machines and things, you know. And I went and I said, where is all this thing, the plaque that says all things will change? He said, we are in this situation, we don't want to change. Are you crazy? So, because years and so many of those to come like that, I want to change it for us. So, oh my God, people, you know, like when you get older, you become wiser, and you have stories, real stories. There's a lot of people, especially my son, ask me about the suffering of children. Why they suffer, why raped, killed, the why, what happened. So this is from Abdul Bar about this kind of thing. As to the subject of babies and infants and weak ones who are afflicted by the hands of oppressor, this contains great wisdom, and this subject is of paramount importance. In brief, for those souls, there is a recompense in another world, and many details are connected with this matter. For those souls, that suffering is the greatest mercy of God. Verily, that mercy of the Lord is for better and preferable to all the comfort of this world and the growth and development of this place of morality. If it be the will of God, when thou shalt be present, this will be explained in detail by word of mouth. So yes, it is a mystery, but as he's saying, those will be treated differently because of that. And I was asked, my son asked me once about the same thing. And the only thing I did at that time, I told him, yes, it is a test for that baby, whatever. It is a test. But God has, who knows what we would have suffered if we would have lived. Maybe God say, okay, let's let him go, and we will reward him and stuff like that, better than he goes through some pain or some problem or some disability all his life. And then I said to him, it is not test for the baby, it's test for you. I said, this is, the whole idea of this is, testing you, because you're gonna say, God is not just. You know, I said, just like now, we're saying God is not just. That's a test for you. You should say, God should be just. He's the ultimate just. You know, and convince yourself that this is good for the future of that child, for his spiritual development. So if it is our choice, what right do we have to complain when he's giving us what we need to accomplish our higher aims? So if we choose to suffer, choose because of sacrifice, because of we did, why we are complaining? We ask to be that. That's why when you choose, have to be careful if what is your choice. I gave a talk about that one and showed how it's important. When you do a choice, you study everything before you do that choice. At least you give it some thought, not just go and dive into it because of some idea, because of what you think that you're invincible, or you know everything, or I'm very smart. That's not the way to do it. Abdul Baha had a very nice example about sacrifice, you know, and again, the suffering. Beautiful example. Baha'i, in one of the planks that the seed did not fade and decompose completely into the earth, do not go up, including a tree. Then, after the sacrifice of the seed itself, quite a sacrifice, you can see the pill so simple on the face of the object, it has transformed into branches and the fruit and flowers, giant tree. Gets the same thing when humans sacrifice something which owns to the soul of the man. They are two power opposite approaches, animal strength and spiritual power. So he's trying to say that this seed that sacrificed itself and went into transformation so that some kind of a tree with roots, with branches is achieved. The seed is going through transformation and finding its own self, and in fact dissolving itself. Just like, you know, the larva one, they put a cocoon around the whatever, and then it becomes a beautiful butterfly, you know, with all the colors, all the way that the butterfly seems to us, you know, beautiful, delicate, colorful things, you know, and the freedom of a butterfly. But this, she has to go through sacrifice and transformation. This is somebody who wrote about the purpose of life. Suffering, like every other aspect of life, should be understood in the context of the purpose of life. If there were no creator, if humans were simply chance products of a thermodynamic system, as many in the world today assert, there would be no purpose in life. Each individual human being would represent the temporary material existence of a conscious animal trying to move through his or her brief life with as much pleasure and a little pain and suffering as possible. So we have this capacity to withstand suffering and whatever happens to the body or to the mind, because we are not only here for a short period. This is only the beginning of the beginning of the beginning. We have worlds of spirituality in the next world. This is nothing. This 8 years here. In fact, next world there is no time. There is no time, there is no space, there is nothing. There is completely except love. Love is the whole power of creation. The love is the power of integration. The love is everything in the world, as we have seen, as we have read in the writings of the Baha'i faith. You know, the love is the cause of this creation. You know, because God said in the Hadith tradition, as he said, God said, I loved to be known and worshipped. I love to be known and worshipped. That's why I created you, humans, because in other words, He loved our creation. So we are the result of love of God. In this world, this is our duty in this world. In this world, he must prepare himself for the life beyond. So, the secret of this world is preparation. All we do here is preparing. Exactly. If somebody is going on a journey, how he's gonna go? He has to take his gun on this side, he has to take his bed on this side, he has to take a lamp on this side, he takes some water this side, some food this side. He's preparing for a journey. And how are we gonna do that? That's exactly what we are preparing ourselves for, the journey, preparing for the journey. So this world is a world of preparation. That which he needs in the world of the kingdom must be obtained here, no other place. Maybe we can say, oh, maybe I can go to another planet, and no, this is the way you're going to be here. You're going to obtain everything in this planet, in this life. In that world, there is need of spirituality, faith, assurance, the knowledge of love of God. Knowledge of the love of God. These he must attain in this world, so that after his ascension from the earthly to the heavenly kingdom, he shall find all that is needful in that eternal life ready for him. That divine world is manifestly a world of lights. Therefore, man has needs of illumination here. That is a world of love. The love of God is eternal and essential. It is a world of perfections, virtues, or perfection must be acquired. That world is vivified by the breath of the Holy Spirit. In this world, we must see them. That is the kingdom of everlasting life. It must be attained during vanishing existence. So, vanishing. It's split second. Nowhere to go. That's it. You know, our duty on this earth is achieved. The spiritual reason for life on earth is to provide us with training ground. We said preparation and training ground. Our life is a period of growth during which we focus on the development of our innate, spiritual and intellectual capacities. Because these capacities are faculties of our immortal soul. They are eternal, and we must make great efforts to develop them. Such efforts are worthwhile, since the soul is the only part of us which endures. Nobody, everything is the soul. Whatever promotes our spiritual development is good, and whatever hinders it, it's bad. Capital B.
Who said that?
Huh?
Who said that?
Abdul. That's about punishment. He will never deal unjustly with anyone. So when we think, oh, he's picking on me, he found me a little puppy and he's giving me so much things as if I need it. Why I am the black sheep of the family, all this, it's nonsense. You have to have test, suffering, to become worthy of the next world. He will never deal unjustly with anyone. Never think that God is dealing unjustly. Never. Neither will he task a soul beyond his power. He verily is the compassionate, the all merciful. That's from Baha'i. So, nothing is beyond our power. Nothing is gonna. He knows that we will pass it if we want to pass it. So prepare ourselves to go through it. So I'm gonna try to do some different readings. As I say, it's an ocean. This idea of suffering and what happens to the soul, because it's really the main thing in life. Why we are here? Because you want to live happily in the next world. Really. Why I am hurting myself? Why I'm killing myself? Why? I want to eventually. I will go and say, finally, I'm here. But the more I have ammunition with me, the more trailers behind me of good things, the more I will say, wow, the sighs become deeper, finally I'm here. It's about 10 pages of all mankind is suffering in this earthly world. No exceptions. Nobody, remember one day Abdul Baha was saying about this world, the problems of this world, we suffer in this world. He was giving a talk about the suffering and test. Somebody said, I have a friend of mine who said he's always happy, nothing happened to him. He's never been tested, I have no problem, nothing negative in his life. Abdul Baha told him, tell him he's a liar. Tell him he's a liar. Of course. That's what Abdul Baha. All mankind is suffering in this world. There is no one in such tranquility that this state might have been a reward for his good deeds in a former life, and there is no soul so happy, but this might be the fruit of this past pain. Again, that's from Shogi Effendi. All the agony, that suffering, privation, and spiritual blindness afflicting people today everywhere in the world to a greater or lesser degree is because they are unaware of or indifferent to the remedy God has sent them. So it's a remedy. Sometimes it's very hard to take the remedy, especially if it tastes bitter. Ask your question concerning the meaning of physical suffering and its relation to the mental and spiritual healing. Physical pain is a necessary. Physical pain is a necessary complement of all human existence. It's necessary, not just you have to. And as much is unavoidable. Already about five ways of describing the pain and everything. It's unavoidable as long as there will be life on earth, there will be also suffering in various forms and degree. So it's part of living. Don't look for shortcuts. But suffering, although an inescapable reality, can nevertheless be utilized as a measure for attainment of happiness. This is the interpretation given to it by all the prophets, saints, who in the midst of severe tests and trials feel happy and joyous and experience what is the best and holiest in life. That's from Shawi Effendi. Beautiful writing from Shawi Effendi. You know, once you read it, you say, my God, you know, nobody. I remember once my father was seeing the Secretary of the National Assembly of America, of the United States, Horace Hawley, and my father wanted to, you know, trick him. He said, "What's your opinion about the Guardian's writing?" You know, he turned to my father. He said, "It's divine." In one word, he said, "It's divine." In other words, don't talk. Don't even ask. He urges you to put these dark thoughts from your mind and remember that God, the creator of all men, can be beat to see them suffer. So it is not for us to question his wisdom. He can compensate the innocent and his own way for the afflictions they bear. So in other words, don't worry. He knows what happened. You don't have to complain. You don't have to tell him you are in the pain number 5, number 6. You know, he knows. Okay, maybe I should, because I would like to have some time later on for people to share, but I would like to talk this story because this changed my life. And I will tell you why. When we pioneered from Baghdad to Kirkuk, we knew exactly what was going to happen. So, especially when my mother gathered all of us and said, let's discuss our life in pioneering. First, he said, like, the house we were living in was 4 level. After we left, the government made it a factory. So big, the government made it a factory. So that's gone. He said, there will be no driver. I was 13, you will be responsible for the car, maintenance, whatever, you know what I mean? My father was to do the landscaping, you know. She became the cook and everything. We lost the cook, the servant, everything. You know, that's just at the beginning of the whole thing. We were put in a small house and whatever. The problem is, although like we are accepted that, but we knew it's gonna be suffering because we are not used to this kind of life. We're used to more luxurious life. So, then, for example, I was after I finished primary school, I was year one in a secondary school. This secondary school is a private college which is run by American Jesuit fathers, and the place is beautiful, full of trees, full of orchards, and they were teaching us English, they were teaching us everything, it is really only the people there are all sons of ministers, son of the government, son of this, Yeah. When I went to my school in Kirkuk, used to be an Ottoman place for the horses, stable for the horses. Like, I can tell you, there is not even a one green thing in it. Not a huge area, just like nothing. It's just like a dust all over, and glasses, and the walls are that thick, bricks and stuff like that, and you can smell the rotten in the air. Like this is just to explain to you what we went to a city. Well, it's a very small city. There is no summer entertainment. There is no physical entertainment. There is no sport. There is nothing. It was 9 months of study, and then 3 months of staying home doing nothing. Honest. 9 months study, and the other 3 months nothing. I used to sit down in the garden the whole day. Nothing. There's nothing there. So really, even if we see somebody passing by, we'd like to look in case we forgot how human beings look like. And I like my mother when she sees three of us sitting down like that, and she says, "Oh, they came." Who came? It turned out to be she's tricking us,
No.
so that we feel somebody's coming to socialize with us, so we'll be happy. Oh, who are they coming? I'm telling you, every half an hour they came. We think, okay, yeah, came on. So it's a sad situation, really. Like we had our youth there was nothing. Okay, so my socializing with people, my ideas were something that I only think of it myself. I didn't even have friends to find out from them what's happening. We were just by ourselves. So I decided I want to be a mechanical engineer because machines and do this. I'm very mechanically minded. So when I passed the baccalaureate of all Iraq, they ask us which university, which subject you want to have, and I wanted engineering, and they say, but remember, once you choose what kind, because there were 6 kinds of engineering. Once you choose it, there is no change. Now you have to say which one you want. Oh, I said, I want a mechanical. I'm mechanically, my mind is all mechanics and how to do this and how to work and so on. I said, okay, sure. So I spent the first year general, before they put you in different subjects. And then the people who I know, my friends, my family, which I didn't know when I was in Kirkuk, I came back, and after I chose this first year, the whole year they were telling me, "You're stupid. You're a mechanical. Who is going to hire you? You are a Baha'i from Jewish background. No government will hire you. nobody will like. It's true. It's only way you can live as electrical, mechanical, petroleum, whatever, is when you become in the government. They say you civil. You can be with contractors. You can be your own. You can do that. Why did you go mechanical? I said, because I like it. He said, we don't do anything we like, anything we can live with. They said, you are wasting your time. I said, my God, it's true. But where I have to fit in a factory, in something like that. And it is all government jobs. So I spent the whole summer praying to Baha'u'llah. And I said, look, I was in a city where nobody told me what my future career should be. And all of a sudden, now I'm going to study for four years for something I don't like. Now I remember that this is a tedious life. I don't want it. I want to build things. I want to be on my own. I want this, Then I remember they told me, that's it. Once you choose your subject, you cannot change. And even when because there we don't pay money, even there you have to sign. If you don't serve them, you have to pay so much money, stuff like that. So I signed to be mechanical. Oh boy, very bad summer I had. And every day I say, God, wow, I didn't know. I wasn't, nobody told me what to choose or counsel me. So the second year started. And I'm sitting up. Second year is that when you get into different things, different subjects. And after a week, lo and behold, the registrar of the university came and said, guys, something happened this year. And the civil engineering, normally they have to have 60. We have 58. And the 58, so we need two this year because they want to have the quota for civil. Because civil is the one everything wants to be civil and they can do anything. So she said, but anybody who wants to change, we will go with according to his what he achieved in the first year, your totally or whatever. Yeah. So I want to be there, sure. You want and somebody else to go. No, other about 5 or 6 that time. Maybe pray to Baha'u'llah. Something. It's an open door. What happened? After a week, she came. She said, "Jamal, you're number 1, and somebody else number 2. You go to civil. Get out from this class. Go to that class." I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. One all of a sudden became 2 is empty. And then the same they told us, this is, you go here, you go here. She said, and we are again back to the same thing. No more changes. That's it. That's only this year. Can you imagine, Bala said, hey, this guy went pioneering, he suffered, he did, I mean, the poor guy is going to be 4 years without interest in his career. Now, give him something, So really, it's not only spiritual rewards, it could be in your lifetime, the rewards. So, by this story, I would like to say goodbye to you guys, and I would open the subject for anybody who wants to share experience and thing in this kind of a situation.